one of the first sports events in the world where Russian athletes are welcome back to compete under their own flag and with their national anthem since the country's invasion of Ukraine last year will be the Women's Boxing World Championships being hosted by India in New Delhi from the 15th to the 26th of March. The decision to let Russians back in competition may have been made by the International Boxing Association, the IBA, which incidentally is still led by a Russian, has a Russian-owned company as their major sponsor, and for related and unrelated reasons stands suspended by the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. So in a sports ecosystem that has taken a strong stand over the last year, either banning Russian athletes and teams from tournaments altogether, like the Wimbledon or the FIFA World Cups, or as allowing them to compete but as under a neutral flag like the US Open tennis tournament, this Boxing World Championship will see India and the Boxing Federation of India on the wrong side of history with their welcome of Russian and Belarusian boxers.
Look, we run a sport and we are not really concerned with the politics behind the sport. We want to give every opportunity to sports people to be a part of the sport, and these issues are best left to governments to deal with. We are hosting a championship, which is the principal for that is the International Boxing Association, and we will go by what they say and what the government of India tells us to do.
Now, while India chose to stay away from the politics of it, nearly 10 countries, including USA, Great Britain, Canada, Switzerland, Netherlands, have pulled out of the New Delhi event in protest of the inclusion of the Russians. And there is more, with the IBA suspended by the IOC. This World Championship, just 1 year before the Olympics, has been stripped of its status as an Olympic qualifier. The IBA insists it is one, but the International Olympic Committee doesn't even recognize any sports organized by this body and has its own qualification criteria for Olympic participation. Bottom line, what could have been a golden opportunity for these 12 Indian boxers participating in the World Championships to seal an Olympic berth on their home turf is now simply another tournament that they get to participate in.
हाँ, अगर क्वालिफाई होता तो और भी ज़्यादा अच्छा होता, क्योंकि कहीं ना कहीं ओलंपिक के लिए ही तैयारी किया जाता है, तो क्वालिफाई नहीं है बोल के थोड़ा सा डिसअपॉइंटमेंट है.
अगर ये क्वालिफायर्स होता है वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप, इट विल बी गुड एंड ग्रेट, एंड अगर नहीं होता है इट्स एब्सोल्युटली फाइन, बट हमारा ये एक ही मोटिव रहेगा कि इस वर्ल्ड चैम्पियनशिप में भी मैं अपने देश के लिए गोल्ड मेडल जीतूं.
These great boxers, though, may have to see their Olympic dreams forcefully ended after the Paris edition next year, because boxing isn't even on the Olympic program of the 2028 Olympics yet, because of the IBA's continued resistance of the IOC's guidelines and concerns. Having Russian Omar Kremlev as president may not have been as big a red flag if his stint's extension wasn't the result of a controversial vote in September where the body voted to not have an election for a new president, a vote before which the Boxing Federation of Ukraine was suspended for government interference.